the beginning of the century, at the beginning of 21st century, there was a huge hope for the people, for all the humanity, that all the wars, all the conflicts will stop. So, and the golden age for the humanity will start. 15 years has gone, and nothing has changed, and but the ways of getting into conflicts have become more smart, and so the question here is if the hopes of the humanity for the peace in the world and happiness all over the world will come true.
Of course, it has to. It has to. This is what we call the Satyug. So in the confusion of modern times, the awareness will get sharpened, and we will recognize the reality, and with that we can see the falsehood, the aggression, and then the aggression will be stopped.
So there was an interview in 2001, if you remember, and the man asked about the radicalism, fanaticism, and all this kind of stuff. And that time you answered that the best way to stop all these things is not to deal with any kind of radicalism and these things. So the question is, there are many more ways now how they get new people, young generation into their roles.
New methods.
Новые methods.
Yes, новые методы вербовки.
So they create new methods of getting the people, young generation
involved
in fanaticism.
Yeah.
You see, I have written a book called Why ISIS, explaining why people from the West are joining ISIS. For instance, in the last year, they said 500 British women, they joined ISIS. They did not join ISIS because of the ideology of ISIS. They joined ISIS because they're looking for sensation, they're looking for adventure. They have had everything in life at a very early age in all these affluent countries. They've had money, they have jobs, they have sex, they have drugs. But now there's nothing more that gives them that sensation, that adventure, because they've had it all. So now they're looking for something else, something more daring, something. So when they're scanning through the net or Facebook, they will suddenly see two Norwegian women with a AK-47 in their hands and a cheesecake on the side, and they say, hey guys, what are you doing out there? Come and join us. It's mind blowing, you know, it's everything is free on the house. You will never believe it. What are you doing there at home? Nothing. So come and join us. Everything is free. So sitting in their bedrooms, these girls, these young people, they become jihadis, they become terrorists. It's in the mind. They don't even know the ideology, they don't even know anything else. But when they go there, then they get disillusioned, and then they want to escape. So it's today, the whole thing is a mind game. So you have to find a way to reach people, to reach their mind, so that the mind can be open to reality.
So China has huge resources, huge people resources, and soon it will be the economical leader of the world. So the question is if it might become even more dangerous than America, and to introduce some more, will it become worse if the China will become the leader?
You see, when there is a rich man and he has gold, then all the thieves want to come and steal it. So America is a rich country, so every country wants a slice of its cake. But if America continues to be stupid and allows others to come and steal its wealth, then it's the fault of America. So it has nothing to do with other countries. Every country wants the slice of cake. But America has to be awakened. That's the point. So if America is awakened, it will know how to protect its interests. But if it is not, it is losing its industry, it's losing its jobs, it's losing its factories to other people. So America has to wake up. It has nothing to do with China or other country, where every country wants to dominate the other country's economy. That's the world situation today. America should not be stupid. Then no country can dominate it, and no country can become so powerful. If every country protects its interests, then no country can dominate it. So what Srimataji Nirmala Devi told Yeltsin, the same situation came after the Gorbachev time, that they opened up the economy and all the Western goods came suddenly into the shops, and there was nothing Russian anymore. Before we used to go to supermarkets full of Russian things, Russian chocolates, everything. Now it was all Swiss chocolates. So she explained to Yeltsin that you must first protect your own home industry. And opening up doesn't mean that you lose your own factories, you lose your own handmade things. So the best way to protect the economy was that you protect your own industries. So it's the same situation. Every country must protect itself.
In any case, we must not fear China.
No, how can it's no more a Cold War situation where any country becomes so big. The collectivity of nations is today. Even if one country becomes very powerful, 5 countries put together can be more powerful. It's not anymore the Middle Ages.
It can be controlled.
Yes, of course.
Of it is like India wants to be the leader as well, and in case these two big huge countries as China and India will become the world leaders, will they manage to, with their cultural deepness, to lock down the materialism of America?
Yes, of course. The message of India has always been peace. India is the only country in the world which never aggressed any other country. And it was the only country where other countries have aggressed. We were under domination of the Ottoman Empire, we were under the domination of the Mughals from Mongolia, from the British. So every country has dominated India for thousands of years. But still, the country has survived because of its spirituality. And the message of India is spiritualism. Spiritualism doesn't mean dogmatism, or doesn't mean that you follow any religion. For instance, in India, there are hundreds of different deities which are being worshipped. In the same household, you will have one person worshipping Sri Rama, another may be following Krishna, another may be a Buddhist, another person may be Christian, but they are still one family and they have no problems with each other because they see that there is one God, but these are aspects of that one God. So they tolerate everybody and they celebrate everyone's festivals. So this is not like fundamentalists or jihadis, that if you are not with us, then you are a non-believer and we have to execute you. So this message of tolerance, this message of brotherhood, this message of collective consciousness, this is what India has to give to the rest of the world, and also to America, also to China, also to Russia. And now people are coming to India to take this message to their own countries.
So there is a huge ecological problem, as everybody says, and also so it's clear that there are lots of declarations about ecological problems on the level of United Nations, organization, and so on. But still, all the natural resources are under control of the governments and some few very rich people. And of course so how can people protest against this, and also what can they do? Maybe Sahaja Yoga can help here.
Of course. So, when you are doing Sahaja Yoga, you understand that all the ecology is inside of you. There are 7 centers of energy which we call chakras, and each chakra is made of one element. Like there are 5 elements: earth, water, fire, ether. So the earth element is the first chakra, which we call as a Muladhara chakra. So the earth consciousness and the vibrations of the Mother Earth nurture this chakra. So when we feel this chakra inside of us, we can feel it as vibrations on our fingers, on our hands, and if we respect the earth, then this chakra inside of us remains healthy. So in most traditional people, whether in America, whether in India, for instance, American Indians, Hopi Indians, they worship the trees. In India also, you will see that they worship certain plants like tulsi, they worship the trees. Even if they have to cut a tree for some reason, they will first take the permission of the tree. So this consciousness that we are connected with each element and we should not exploit any element, this comes from the understanding of our own nature, and to understand that the ecology is nothing but the extension of our inner ecology. And if we do not respect that, then it will rebound on us. The pollution of water, the pollution of the atmosphere, the global warming, all these things is you can even say it's the anger of nature. But the ancient beliefs was that if there is a calamity, there is say a cyclone, or there is a tsunami, it means that we have upset nature. So that consciousness has gone because we become very rational. We feel that we have to take as much as we can of the natural resources to grow rich. So we start exploiting nature. So unless until we have this understanding that we have to moderate, if we have to cut some trees, then we must also plant more trees. So in this way, understanding of our own inner ecology will help us to better understand the ecology outside.
But maybe modern idea of the people to take all what can we take from Mother Earth and resources and fly out to the Mars, for example.
See, the idea of flying to the Mars or the Moon, these are fueled by certain vested interests, because people have so much money, some people, a few section that is having more money, so they're not getting satisfaction how to spend that money. So these people bring in schemes that you like already people have started booking their tickets to Mars. So all these are for games for the rich. They don't have anything to do with the reality. The amount of money that has been spent by America and Russia on sending people to Mars, it was not necessary at all. There are people who are starving, there are people who are so poor in their countries, people who are suffering from cancer, from AIDS. They're not helping them. But they are pampering their ego, that we are the first ones who went to the moon, we are the first ones who went to the Mars. So it's an ego game. And the richer you are, the more your ego gets bigger and bigger. So these are the problems of the rich nations.
Because our land is limited by resources, and it's like at the end of the taking of these resources, yes, we will get like this earth broken.
Yeah, it is true what you are saying, but when you said, yogis, if you give vibrations to the earth, it will again regenerate. That is the quality of Mother Earth, that it can regenerate. You can imagine the same piece of land for thousands of years has been plowed, and each year it still gives crop. That is the power of Mother Earth.
In any case, we must do something.
Of course. Otherwise,
not just what you.
Yeah. Otherwise, if you are just going to fill Mother Earth with pesticides and all the chemicals, then what you're going to eat from it is also going to be full of those chemicals. So they're going to destroy your own system.
So, things America started its active advertising of free way of life.
Where?
Why?
Free way of life, like freedom.
In where?
Everywhere in the world, like
Okay.
the culture of freedom
Uh-huh.
and so on. So, which caused there such situations that nowadays the understanding of morality has become quite different.
Yes.
It's like the things that were normal, which are normal now, and it's like everybody does like this, were thought to be bad in the past.
Yes.
And new generation even has not imagination about dharma.
Yes.
Because as he told, like around the world, many people use really short clothes, especially women, and also like kid can wear underwear in front of their parents and also friends. It's a question of morality. Our generation like doesn't understand this point completely, and they think that it's normal.
Yeah, I understand.
But from the other side, there are some religious countries, some religious families and parents who try to force the kids and try to follow the others by their like some fundamental methods to force the kids to follow these rules and so on. But usually, it causes fear and all this stuff, but it doesn't change them from the inside. So the question is, if we should, how can we stop it? Like the changes of morality, or we should just stop worrying about it, and the nature will work it out spontaneously.
The question of morality in Soviet Union, let's start with that. See, with the coming of communism, they shut all the churches, and you were not allowed to speak about God. So an artificial code of conduct was superimposed in people's life. They could drink any amount, they could have prostitution, they could do anything else, but they could not speak against the state, and they could not speak against communism. So it affected the sense of programming the people For instance, inside of us, we are conditioned by a program. Like in a computer, you feed a program, then the computer works according to the program. So this young generation, a program was superimposed upon them. So they lost the innate sense of morality. And so they thought everything is okay, you can go without clothes, you can go to nude beaches, you can have homosexuality. So all these things started appearing to be normal. But when you come to understanding the working of the energy inside of you, which is called the Kundalini energy, then you also understand there's certain properties of the energy centers inside of us. For instance, the first center. Now the first center is placed below the sex organ. That means sex cannot be used for its growth, for its awakening. It has to be awakened by morality. So morality means dharma. Morality is also a very confusing word, because as you mentioned, that in the fanatical countries like Islam, they use morality in a very different way. Like in Iran, they are very dogmatic. That is not morality. Morality means that which is for your evolution, that which helps the ascent of your inner energy, which we call as the Kundalini. So if this first center is damaged by all these extreme behaviors, which you call like exposing the body by sex, licentiousness, permissiveness, homosexuality, all these things, then the Kundalini does not rise. You do not evolve. You may have the freedom to do what you like. Nobody is going to stop you from doing all these things. But you will totally damage your own centers, and you will contact horrible diseases like AIDS, like cancer. Now, why people are getting all these new diseases for which there are no cures? Because they have lost the immunity system inside of them. And now, where does immunity come from? The immunity comes from your own property. Your own property is your spirit. So if you have damaged the first chakra, then it doesn't nurture the defense mechanism of the body, and so you become vulnerable to all kind of diseases like cancer. Now cancer today in America, they say that every fourth person is getting cancer. Why should a rich country which has everything, which has so much food, where people are obese, they have so much food there, they are obese, why should they have this problem? Because they do not have an immune system which has recourse to the consciousness of the body, and so the cancer cells start dividing and multiplying against the normal cells. They do not obey the command of the conscious mind, and they become arbitrary. So they become cancerous, and they start going against the body. So this is a very simple way to understand that all these problems, health problems, especially these diseases, are created because of our own inner problems, and we have to attend to them.
There are many people in the countries, like for example Kazakhstan, who are very traditional.
Well,
who are very traditional.
Very traditional.
Yeah, they have their ancient culture, and they are following this culture and their own tradition of the people.
Yes.
So how to talk to them? How to make them, maybe not change, but how to show them the experience, the new experience.
You see, all the ancient traditions they come from the same source. So in every tradition you have to find that what is the point which unites us. They may be expressing things very differently, but what is the point that unites us? So we should look for the point of unity, and when we find that point of unity, we will see that it's very easy to explain to them through that point, Sahaja Yoga, and it is there in every tradition all over the world, because it's a connection of the spirit, and this is what every tradition talked about. But they said it in a different way, they expressed it in a different way. So it is for us to find out what is the point of unity.
How can we change situations that so many ritualism in this tradition?
Every religion eventually becomes ritualistic. But if we go into the origin and we find the point of unity and we make them understand, then they will stop doing the rituals. For instance, when Srimataji introduced Sahaja Yoga in India in 1970, all of us were very ritualistic people. We were Hindus, or we were Jains, or we were Buddhists, and we were practicing rituals from morning to night. We were fasting, we were doing prayers to the idols, we were going to the temples. But when we understood that all this is inside of us, all the deities are there in our chakras, then we started feeling them on our central nervous system, and we started experiencing them as vibrations in our hands. We started feeling the joy inside of us. Then we realized there is no need to do the rituals. But if you tell them, no, don't do this, then their ego will be hurt and they will not listen to you. So you should be discreet, first of all. And like when when we all came to Sahaja Yoga in the very beginning, everybody was going to some temple, somebody was worshipping Sri Rama, somebody was having photos of different deities. So we did not say that, no, stop all that. We said first you feel inside yourself and see what are the vibrations of these things. If you don't feel the vibrations, then there's no need to do it. So they themselves stopped all this. We, all Indians now, I think there are hundreds and thousands of Indians doing Sahaja Yoga. We were all the same. We were all ritualistics before. So we have seen how it works. So if it has worked in India, it will work everywhere.
Sahaja Yoga has spread worldwide. You know that in many countries there are yogis, but the quantity of these yogis is not high.
Yes.
So there are quite few people, and the interest to Sahaja Yoga is not that big in Europe and also in Asia as well. So what is the reason for it? Is it because of the way of giving the realization and talking to people, or it's just because of evolution and it should be like this?
Evolution, yes. You know, a very great saint in China was Bodhidharma, and he said that a 10,000 mile long journey starts with the first step. So in 1970, Srimataji started Sahaja Yoga. For the first 5 years, there were only 7 hippies in London that she worked on. In India at that time, maybe there were 10 or 15 people. But within a span of her lifetime of Sahaja Yoga, about 30-40 years, thousands of people in India started doing. At least in Europe, in England, in Italy, in each of these countries, 2,000-3,000 people started doing. In Russia, 10,000 people started doing. So if you see the time frame in which it has spread, it is miraculous. Now, Sahaja Yoga is not like a speeding car that, instantly the whole world will start doing it. You have to be, first of all, a seeker, and not everybody is a seeker. Most of the population is still caught up in consumerism, and the seekers are very few. So first the seekers will come into Sahaja Yoga, and then gradually it will spread to the masses. So it is an evolutionary step. It has to happen, but it has to happen in its own time frame. We cannot define it. That's the point.
So you write very actively, and nowadays there is a big project, a new film. So what the film is about, and
yes.
Is it really important for yourself?
I had written a book called Why ISIS. It's on Amazon also. It is about why the Western young generation is attracted towards joining ISIS, and this film is based on that, and it explains the life of a young British girl who joins ISIS. She just wants to get adventure, and that's why she joins it, not because she agrees with the ideology of ISIS. So when she goes to Syria and she's part of the ISIS, they marry her to the jihadis, and the British girls are given as a first prize. So they are the ones who are the jihadis who have killed the maximum number of people. They are given as a prize, the British girls to marry. But they are ill-treated and they're kicked around, and eventually the girls try to escape. So in this movie, she eventually manages to escape with the help of the Zaidi tribes, who are being prosecuted also by the ISIS people. And finally, she escapes and comes to India, and she's so demoralized and she's so depressed that she's trying to understand what is life, why we are here. And when she comes to India, she's introduced to Sahaja Yoga, and she understands through Sahaja Yoga what is the meaning of life, what is the purpose of life, why we are here. But she still has a lot of anger inside of her because she was treated by them. Then she cannot forgive the ISIS and her husband. And when the Kundalini, the energy inside of her rises, then it empowers her to forgive him. So the purpose of the book is to show that we may be weak, we may have certain habits and anger and suppression inside of us, which we are not able to give up by mental reasoning, by logic, by introspection. But there's an energy inside of us. If we allow it to work, then it can dissolve these things. It can dissolve the anger, it can dissolve the suppression, it can dissolve all the bad habits. So this is why it's very important to show, because the rational mind thinks that it has to do everything itself, and also that it is alone. And when it cannot achieve what it wants to do, it gets very frustrated. It gets depressed, it may get angry also. So people commit suicide, people become mental cases. So it's very important to show to the world through this film that we are not alone, and number two, that there is a power inside of us which empowers us.
In this exactly this thing that you want to show, all these things through the film, the reason for you for the project to be so important.
Yes, because people lose hope. Like you, so many questions that you've asked, you are concerned, you are worried about the world, you're thinking what will happen with all these terrorists and other problems, where is the world going to? So there is a sense of hopelessness, and people have lost hope in the future. So it's very important that through this project they understand that there is hope, that things are going to get better and better. You don't have to be afraid of anybody. There's no need to have fear of China or any country, because there is another power of collective consciousness that is working, that is more powerful, and that is not going to allow the world to be destroyed. I can say that God, who has created this world, will not let any power destroy.